In the race for Pennsylvania governor, Fox News polling has the state's Democratic Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, leading by 16 points over Republican candidate Doug Mastriano.
Well, that's not bad. Let's bring in the Attorney General right now. Attorney General Shapiro joins us. Thanks so much for being with us. Greatly appreciate it. I'm curious.
Thank you.
We've seen across the country election deniers, conspiracy theorists, let's just say it, freaks, weirdos, insurrectionists doing all right in the polling. I'm curious, what's happening in Pennsylvania where your opponent has floated out a lot of conspiracy theories, but the voters don't seem to be buying it. Why?
Well, look, I think Doug Mastriano is by far the most dangerous and extreme candidate in the nation. You know, wants to criminalize abortion, charge women with murder who have that life-saving medical procedure. He was part of the violent mob that stormed up to the Capitol on January 6th. He's made clear he wants to decertify election machines in the next election so he can pick the winner, calls climate change fake science, wants to undo marriage equality. I mean, this guy is incredibly extreme. By contrast, I'm someone who's won statewide twice here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We've been able to bring Republicans, Democrats, Independents together to support my candidacy so that we can work together to cut costs, raise wages, put more cops out on the street, make sure that we invest in public education and protect our fundamental freedoms, whether it's the right to vote, the right to make decisions over your own body. So there's a clear contrast in this race, and I'm optimistic heading into Tuesday.
So, Mr. Attorney General, we've talked about this on the show before, that in the past when we started talking about crime, often there would be some that would say, oh, that's just a racist Republican talking point. Elise Jordan's here. She's going to be asking you a question in a minute. But, you know, she had focus groups out of Pennsylvania with black voters from Philadelphia. You said they're afraid to go to work. They're afraid to come home. They're afraid they're going to get shot. One older gentleman said people just don't respect other people's lives anymore. We showed a poll yesterday from Pew that shows that 82% of black Democrats think crime is an incredibly important issue. Reverend Al says that when he goes into churches now, that's what people are talking to him about. Crime, crime, crime. Is crime a problem in Philadelphia? I can't believe I have to ask this question, but for some reason, this has become an ideological issue. Is crime an issue in Philadelphia? Is crime an issue in Pennsylvania, as it is in other states, red and blue? And if so, what can you do as U.S. Senator to talk to, for instance, that elderly black gentleman who's afraid to drive to work in the morning because he's afraid he's going to get killed?
Yeah, and Joe, just one correction. I'm not running for U.S. Senate. I'm running to be Pennsylvania's next governor.
No, governor. Okay, so you can actually do something.
Sweat.
I'm sorry.
It's early. It's early.
So what can you do?
Give him another cup of coffee, okay?
Listen, that won't help. That won't help. So actually, as governor, you actually can do this. So as governor, what can you do?
Yeah, no, let me give you a serious answer. I mean, first of all, I begin the conversation saying folks have a right to both be safe in their community and feel safe in their community. And so that means we need to have more policing in our communities. But those police need to be properly trained. They need to be from the community that they're sworn to protect. They need to look like their neighbors. They need to have enough bodies to be able to get out of their patrol cars, walk the beat, talk to the kids in the neighborhood, see the humanity in them, talk to the folks, by the way, who are really running the neighborhoods. That's the grandmoms sitting up on their porches. And so we've got to make that change. When I'm governor, we'll hire 2,000 more police officers here in Pennsylvania. And let me tell you something. I have been saying this for years, that we need to make these kinds of investments in public safety. I said it at Mount Carmel Baptist Church in West Philly just last weekend. I've said it at Rotaries and VFWs and rural communities. I'll say it wherever I go. People have a right to be safe and feel safe. You know, as Attorney General, Joe, I've arrested 8,200 drug dealers, over 500 gun traffickers, more than 500 child predators, and by the way, over 100 corrupt politicians from both parties. People have a right to be safe, to feel safe, to get honest services from their government. And I will not back down on this issue, and this will be a core fundamental investment we make in my first budget as governor.
Mr. Attorney General, your opponent has been very outspoken and extreme in his abortion platform. He said that he would punish women who violated the abortion restrictions. He said that he would immediately ban all abortions, period, in the state of Pennsylvania if elected. How have you gained a political advantage, frankly, from his extremism on abortion?
Look, the day I launched this campaign in October of 2021, I talked about being a pro-choice governor. And, candidly, it was more of a theoretical conversation at the time. After Dobbs, this is a reality check here in Pennsylvania. This is very real. We have a Republican-led legislature that keeps putting bills on the desk of the governor to ban abortion. So this is not a theoretical exercise anymore. And you couldn't have a clearer contrast in this race. My opponent wants to ban all abortion with no exceptions, not for rape or incest or even to save the life of the woman. And he talked just a couple weeks ago about charging women with murder who have that life-saving medical procedure. I've been clear and consistent on this throughout my entire career and through this campaign. When that bill reaches my desk, I will veto it and trust the women of Pennsylvania to make decisions over their own bodies. Period. This is a central issue in this campaign. Our rights and freedoms are on the line. The right to govern your own body, the right to vote for who you want and have it count, the right to be able to join a union. All of these rights and freedoms are on the line, and we are the coalition that's standing up for those fundamental freedoms and rights.
Mr. Shapiro, this is Eddie Glaude. I appreciate your answer around the question of crime, about every community deserves to be safe and feel safe. And we know that that safety question involves more than just simply locking up criminals, but the very background conditions, the material conditions that create crime, or the conditions for crime in certain communities. But I want to shift the question to this. We just had a conversation about Kyrie Irving and anti-Semitism. You've had to face anti-Semitism in your campaign with your opponent. Talk to us about how you've addressed that directly and what it means that a candidate for the governor's seat in Pennsylvania has traded in such hateful language.
Yeah. Well, look, Eddie, the real issue is not how Doug Mastriano's anti-Semitism makes me feel. The real issue here is that every time he spews this anti-Semitism or racism or other kinds of bigotry, or engages with white supremacists, as he routinely does, including just last night, it's not about how it makes me feel. It's the fact that it makes every Pennsylvanian less safe. You see, if you don't think like Doug Mastriano or look like him or vote like him or marry like him or worship like him, then you don't count in his Pennsylvania. I want to be a governor for all people, no matter what you look like, where you come from, who you love, or who you pray to. And I think fundamentally we need to understand that hate speech begets hate crimes. And leaders have a responsibility to speak and act with moral clarity. I try to do that every single day. Obviously, Doug Mastriano doesn't. He is exhibit A of the kind of dangerous extremist language that makes everyone less safe here in Pennsylvania.
Attorney General Shapiro, obviously, polls suggest that economic issues are top of mind for most voters in Pennsylvania. I'm sure it is like that as well. Give us, I'm sure in your campaign trail, each and every day, you're talking to voters at the supermarket or the gas station who are hurting, who are finding themselves having trouble making ends meet, trouble buying the groceries that a year or two ago they would have easily afforded. What is your real message to those Pennsylvanians who you may soon be their governor about whether or not things are going to get better and when?
Look, I've been speaking about this throughout the campaign, and I think we all understand the governor of Pennsylvania, the state lawmakers, they didn't create inflation, right? There are broad international geopolitical reasons for it. But we have a responsibility to try and address it here. That's why I put forth a multi-part plan. First, we have to cut business taxes. Let small businesses keep more of their money, invest more in their workforce. Second, we have to get rid of the nuisance taxes that just drive Pennsylvanians crazy. We pay an 11% tax on our cell phone bills every month. I'll cancel that when I'm governor. We really have to help seniors be able to stay in their homes and afford, the household goods that are costing more. So I want to double what's known as our state property tax rent rebate and double the number of seniors who qualify. And then for everyone who's facing the pain at the pump, I want to give everybody an immediate $250 gas tax rebate for each car that they own or lease or drive. Put money back in Pennsylvanians' pockets right now when they need it most. Our plan is fully paid for, and I've talked about that all across this Commonwealth.
All right, Pennsylvania Attorney General and Democratic nominee for Governor Josh Shapiro, thank you so much.
Thank you for being on this morning.
You've answered.